Hello, friends and neighbors. It is Dewey here, and it's December something or other. I'll have the date down there at the bottom. And I have been watching the progress of the development here in town the last few months, and been thinking it's going a lot faster than I can keep up with. And wanted to see if I could catch up a little bit. We are at the corner of my street, Walnut Street, North Fulton Avenue again. And we'll walk down this way. And I think this is going to be a pretty lengthy walk because I'm planning to walk to the south side of the tracks as well and see what's up over there on South Central across from the old Dwarf House. There's development catty corner from that. On Perkins, at the corner of Perkins and South Central. I showed it to you earlier in the year, I think, but haven't updated you since. So we'll go over there and then check out all the development on the south side as well. The last time I went by there, it had stalled. There was a lot of empty. They had cleared a lot of the property and laid down the little streets. But some of the developments, the last time I checked anyway, were stalled. So we're headed up to Jackson. I'm out of breath. I've been not taking very good care of myself health-wise lately because it's colder. I don't like to go out when it's cold. Hi. How are you? Good to see ya. Happy holidays. Hi, puppy. Ooh. Some activity here at, I can't tell the number. First time I've seen people outside of, looks like 3024 Jackson Street. Taking a tree down there on the corner. Good morning. It's 3224. It's 3236 Jackson. So that house there is 3224. There's a young fella out front cleaning up mulch, and then a woman in the back working in the yard. I've never actually met those people. I don't know who they are. But as I've mentioned before, when I'm walking out and about and I've got the camera, I kind of avoid folks unless they knew I was coming. Mentioned this house many times. Been here almost 8 years and it's been sitting there empty on a double lot. Actually, one, two, this is a triple lot. 3239, very cute. 3244 and 3248 here at the corner. All of these places I've recorded before. This is all repeat. 3247. But I've had several of you reach out to me, even though I've covered all of the streets, and I think I have recorded every house at some point or another. Maybe not every single one, but pretty darn close. Even though I've covered everything. Many of you have said to me, keep going. We want to see how it's changing. So I'm doing that. Here we are once again at 579. This is new. So there is a map here in Hapeville for folks who own golf carts. And it tells them which streets and where they can go with their golf carts legally in town. Because the town is wanting to encourage folks to use their golf carts. You see a few folks, but not very many. So there's paths that you can take. Convo Restaurant Lounge. This is currently a juice bar called Juicy Details. The pantry is still there, as always, looking the same as it does. This is owned by the city. We think it's going to be an Italian restaurant. This has been here about 5 years. It's called Mommy's. No, not Mommy's. That's up on Central. This is called Tia Rosie's. It's Mexican food. Delicious. And Pizza Clinic is still here. Ooh, I am out of shape, y'all. I gotta walk slower. We'll cross here. Oh, I'm so sorry, excuse me. I just stepped right in front of someone's car. Sorry, darling. This is 3287B. Always interests me because this is pretty much one of the last homes on the street that's on formerly Stewart Avenue that's still extant. Still extant. This was updated and opened recently. It changed from a African food restaurant. They've opened it up now as Hapeville Fish and Chicken. Right there. All right, so we're getting up to the first development here, across from where Hoke Bradley Station used to be, which is now Family Dollar. The band, a couple businesses that used to be there, including where y'all would go to get your band instruments, band box. But here we go. This is that stretch that I've been recording since they started clearing it. I should probably go across the street again so you can see it. But you can see the house that you called the mansion is gone. Do you remember the houses that were here? So now we've just got, it's like a wall of townhomes. Just a wall. When you come, it's right on the curve. Remember the curve? Milk jug was right there. This is it. And of course, I can be anxiety ridden. I am most of the time, and I think, oh boy, somebody's going to come zipping around that corner, and there's going to be a car in somebody's front door at some point. I can almost guarantee it. Construction people waving at me. But you can see it's double back. And it's going to go two or three more. No, it looks like one more. 1, 2, 3 levels all the way back. But this definitely changes the look around here. I'm glad I made the video of what was here before, because those buildings and those old houses were interesting. And you know, oh, I always forget, 3344 is still here, although I think there's a business in there now, some kind of office or something. Not sure of that, but it was for sale a few months ago. So yeah, that's what it looks like on the curve here on former Stewart Avenue, now Dogwood. I get beeped at a lot. I don't know if I look weird or just people know, oh, that's the guy who films our town. So when I moved here, this was Arches Brewing right here, the whole thing. But now it has been, Arches moved a year ago or so, and another brewery moved in called Chattahoochee. So they've only got the right-hand side now. Then there's a place that opened up in the middle called Fun Tapas Bar and Kitchen. And then on the left, oh, there's somebody doing taxes in there. There was a dance studio there for a minute. Now it's a tax place. But it looks a lot better. This was, I think, an auto parts store back in the 70s and 80s. This is Hapeville Mill, which used to be the location of Gino's roadside motel. This is where Chris had his business for a very long time, an excellent mechanic. I was sad when he closed, and then Hapeville Radiator opened up, and they were there for a few months, and then gone. It's for sale. Don't know the story, but who knows? Usually at tax time, I mean, it's still a little bit early. This place, 3381, someone always comes in and rents that place during tax time. 3384 and 3388. It always fascinates me how close these houses were built together, built near each other. Back when they were built, there would have been plenty of land around here, so I always find it interesting that they are literally 8 feet apart. Discovery Montessori, 3383 is part of Discovery Montessori, old doctor's offices. 3396, what used to be the dry cleaners, Russell Dry Cleaners. Don't know what that business is. And then what used to be the pawn shop here, I'm not sure what that is either. It's called Co-Create, but I don't know what it is. Both of them are like destination places, but they're not services that enhance the city in any way. 3395. And then I never can figure out the number of this one. There's a lot of this in Hapeville. I just don't get it. A lot of that. There's a little business in there called Whipped by Kiara, which sounds salacious. I guess whipped is a term for having good makeup, getting your face whipped. In drag culture, we call it beating your face. Belle Lux is a waxing and beauty salon. And then 3421 and 3418. Old stalwarts here in Hapeville. Don't quite know what goes on in there, but I do know it was an old newspaper place. Regional McDonald's office was in there in the 70s and 80s. But this area right here has a lot of potential, but very, very slowly it's changing. Very slowly. Shoe repair shop and the old Thomas's still sits empty. Although up here, you'll get to see a really cool new business in what used to be in this it's white now, the white building up there that used to be back in the 40s and 50s, where you could buy appliances and boats. It's now called House of Belly. It is part of the coffee shop that's just around the corner called Cafe Belly. He has this space as well at 3445 and has turned it into an event space. And it's really pretty. It's got a little stage in there, but you can rent that space, a bar. The reflection doesn't allow you to look at it really well, but it's nice. This gas station on the corner has been a T-Mobile for the whole 8 years that I've been here. And for most of the time, the old Ricketts gas station has been Island Vibes Caribbean Grill. Okay, so we're gonna walk down North Central. And even though I'm in the crosswalk, she did not care. I'll tell you, I lived in Manhattan for 6 years, and people say the Manhattan traffic is crazy, and I will tell you, compared to here, no, it isn't. In Manhattan, people honk horns a lot, gripe at each other a lot, but by and large, you have no choice on a grid to just follow the rules. You're not going to get anywhere any quicker. Here, rules? What rules? Someone's in the crosswalk? Who cares? This is being, as I mentioned in an earlier video, renovated and turned into Swimmerman. The Woodco sign is still up, but I'm sure it will be coming down soon here at 641, where Jacobs used to be. Jacobs Pharmacy, drugstore. Active parking again here on the side. For the longest time, folks weren't allowed to park here, but now the owners of Full Cart Restaurant have worked in coordination with the new owners here, and they share this lot, which is good for business. Holiday decorations, because there's a Main Street holiday decorating contest going on, and Full Cart is vying for the prize. This here, momentarily, was an event space, but unfortunately the owner did not follow rules in regard to the city and what you need permit-wise and parking-wise to have an event space in downtown, so she opened while ignoring those rules and was shut down, so that sits there with nothing going on. But here we are. Y'all remember this. The soda fountain in there now is rented by a company that makes acai bowls. It's the Lodge, with its familiar old adage, how strange for any member to think that he can stay away from Lodge and a worthy member be. Hapeville Lodge, number 590, F and AM. But not a lot of activity here, and a dead pigeon. Wow. Guess he's not a member. He couldn't get in. J.J. Allen's old photo studio. And of course, for the past 35 years or so, Haberdasher, where the bank used to be, that opened in 1911. All right, I am not going up and over that bridge because Papa doesn't have the energy today. But I was smart. I did bring my water bottle with me. We just passed Volare, which is a breakfast spot, dinner spot, Coffee Man, the Academy Theater, doing something called Snow White and the Seven Morphs. Hapeville, a Main Street city. Redefining global logistics. Beer Girl. And we have a new bookshop called Impossible Moon. I have not been in there yet, but I will go in at some point. And in the far eastern part of town, we've got Pilates and Wellness, Farmers Insurance upstairs, Mommy's Cuban Restaurant. Friend of Bill W. If you know, you know. And Hapeville, Georgia Terra Incorporated, the same. All of this is for that organization. And then we're at Sam Hape Plaza. Beautiful mural that went down a couple of years ago. Sam Hape Plaza. in the Corner Tavern. You can see that's Regions Bank over there. That was opened, I think, 1960 as Citizens Bank, which started down there by the depot originally. The old McDonald's. Every time I pass by here, I think about the stories you all have told of this huge tree that was out here at one point next to the McDonald's. And then here we are across from Martino White and the Jackson building. This will be fun getting across because there is no crosswalk. I'm gonna have to create one myself to get across. Thank you. Thanks. We're going over to Perkins Street and Porsche Avenue, which used to be Henry Ford Way. But now a different car gets the honor. A different car gets the honor of the street being named. But the last time I was here, I think, I was questioning what used to be on this corner here, and you all solved that and told me it was a self-wash, car wash thing. And then I was also wondering why part of the structure here on the bottom was metal when the rest was wood, and it made me think that perhaps these were going to be storefronts, and maybe with a little closer investigation now as they're further along, I might be able to tell if that is so. It seems maybe so. Oh. Yeah. Those look like they might be storefronts, right? With apartments above. It looks like it because it's just one big open space inside. And then this corner lot was the car wash. Now we'll walk down Perkins towards the College Street School, which of course is now condos. Did you ever wash your car here? And you can see this whole lot between Perkins and Elm Street on the other side, all developed. See the backside there, that'll all be parking inside. Maybe a pool, I don't know. Can't tell yet. Never really noticed this old scraggly tree on previous walks. Been cut back recently, a lot. Fortune Johnson. I'm sure they're making a fortune. Johnson. I love the contrast of what an apartment building once was like here in Hapeville. There you go. And now that. Bigger, bigger, bigger. More, more, more. 3580. This is a nice view that we get this time of year of the College Street School, since the leaves are off those trees. go over here. When the leaves are off the trees, you can see the entire structure. This was built in 1915 after the original one built in 1912 burned. And I think there was one before that, so there's been 3 here, 3 schools at College Street and Perkins. I like to imagine the activity that was once here of kids, teachers, parents, bicycles. You can see they added dormers up in the top to give some light to the upstairs apartments. I think I was told that the kids, one of their playgrounds was across the street here, either here or down there. Not sure which, but some of the students went out and played across the street. There it is. Do you know I've never walked up and looked at the sign? Never really noticed it before. Let's take a look. Yep, 1915, I was right. It says, City of Hapeville, John D. Humphreys was mayor. He lived in a house over there by the Hapeville United Methodist Church, if I'm not mistaken. He was a councilman, W.T. Dunn, Eugene King, as in King Arnold Street, O.L. Carmichael, L.T. Carter, J.T. Lassiter Jr., Joseph W. Humphreys, that's John Humphrey's brother. He was an attorney as well. They both were, I believe. J.M. Daniel was city clerk, and that was 1915. And there it is. That's cool. I've walked so many times these walks, and that's something that I hadn't seen yet. So that was worth it. Now you can look down here. This is this ends at Elm Street, and look at that complex just continues back. It's absolutely enormous. Enormous. I just don't see, I don't know. I have no concept of that many people being drawn to Hapeville and living near the airport, but I must be wrong. I'm no businessman. There must be anticipation that it's going to happen. Well, this is neat. You can see the tower. Look at that. It's always such a different view this time of year. I have a picture in my archives, hundreds of bikes here. It was like 1955. It was taken from over there. You could see down the street to the curve, there was a house sitting there, but there were bike racks here. Hundreds of bikes were sitting here. Well, dozens. Just waiting for kids to come running out after the bell rang, run down the street to one of the local neighborhood stores to get their gum, candy, soda pop, comic books. I mentioned it before, but on this lot, many, many years ago, was the Catholic nunnery convent. And here we go into the development down here at this end. It doesn't look like anything's changed since I last walked down here. Like I said, it's kind of dead. They've added this street called Laurel Lane. You can see here at Union Avenue. There used to be a big, beautiful house here, a big old house that I documented, but it just goes in and around and then back out again right there. But nothing's being built here. 3624, all the houses that got torn down over here, that one survived, which has always fascinated me. I'm like, is it just a matter of that person went, nope, I'm staying, or they just didn't need that piece, which I can't imagine. And this has been for sale for a while. It's a cute little house, but it needs work. Someone's coming out the front door, so I'm not gonna encroach on their privacy. And then they've added Sycamore Lane. Okay, they've gone back inside so I can show you how cool it looks with the little cat sitting outside. That's old Hapeville right there. But another repeat of this side, Townsend Asbury on the other side, but it's kind of stalled. It's definitely stalled. So that's 1, 2, and can you imagine, do you hear that? Maybe with my microphone you can't hear that well, but that, and it's always louder this time of year. We are right on the runways. Can you imagine buying a $500, $400, $300, I don't know, $350,000 to $500,000 townhome right here? Well, these folks have. I can only hope that their windows are triple paned, and all of these that have been here since I moved here. It's just, the story has always fascinated me, because back when the airport took this land, their claim was it was unlivable for residents. But as folks have said, jet engine technology has changed, maybe not as loud. Building materials have improved. Honestly, I think that's all euphemistic talk for money talks, you know. That's the truth. But look at this one, 3656. She's sitting here going, I ain't going nowhere, y'all. This is my neighborhood and I'm staying. She made it. Her neighbors did not anywhere. This neighbor did. So we're at Chestnut and Union. A couple of my favorite houses that I've showed you before, just because they've survived and they're tucked back here. The land is for sale, and I know one day I'm going to be heartbroken. 3610. I can never tell if that's 3610 or 3670. That survives. This one, whose number I've never been able to follow. I did a video especially of this house, I think, at one point, but this car is always here, which makes me think it's somebody that works over there. But she's going to be gone eventually. And so will these over here that I have, this one over here that I have shown you extensively. I mean, I never get tired of coming back here and looking at the wrought iron work on this house. You can look back, there's a video of me walking up in there. And then this one right here is just like, she just made it by the skin of her teeth back in 69 to 70, 71 when they were taking the land. 3688. And I imagine there was probably another home next to it maybe, but here she sits looking so beautiful, old and stately. Oh, I love that house. It's just, I can only imagine the stories that go with that house. And this house, these neighbors, obviously they knew each other. A lot of construction employees here, because there's another development right on the hill there on Chestnut Street that they've cleared, but has also seemed to stall. But that complex that we'll walk down. The complex that I showed you from the front, way up at the beginning of Union on North Central, I'm going to show you how far back down Elm Street it goes, you guys. It's absolutely monstrous how big it is. And you'll be able to see as we walk down. Oh, and I love it. You can't see it yet, but even in the middle of all this, there's a rooster down there in the middle of the road. But look at all this. Wow. All the construction employees. Oh. Yeah, so they created off of Chestnut Street here. It's called Willow Lane. They've got the mailboxes, but then the actual construction is stalled, and so now they're just, for everybody that's working on the complex that you saw up front, that one's still going. They're parking back here. They're using it for parking. But these will be townhomes at some point. When I moved here 8 years ago, there was one example of this in town, and it was on Atlanta Avenue, just south of the Hapeville Baptist Church, not Baptist, yeah, Baptist Church, right behind it. They had done this in 2005, and then the bottom dropped out of the economy, the housing market, and it sat there empty. It was one of the first places 20 years later to be finally developed as part of the Asbury Park thing over there, complex. But even so, this big corner is for sale. Well, looks like I just saw somebody clearing materials out of the back of this house, so, you know, and there's a dumpster. So, oh, you can see, there he is. Hi, guy. Trying to figure out where'd the farm go? Where'd the farm go? Where'd old Hapeville go? I'm with you on that. It's changing a lot, isn't it, buddy? Yeah, so we're coming up to Elm Street, and look at that. The entirety of Elm Street, from North Central all the way down here. I mean, look at, if you have an apartment there, look at what you get to see. That's how close, that is how close these folks are going to be. Now, to each his own. If you like airplanes and you have a balcony on an apartment right there, you have front row seats every night to the airplane's landing. And some would say that's freaking cool, and I could see their point. But listen. Wow, that is loud. That is loud. But both of these properties are for sale. So more of this is gonna be there. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But that old house there, I've recorded all of the houses on Elm Street a couple years ago when I heard that development was going to happen back here. So luckily, they will live on in these videos anyway. But there's 4 of them. Wow, these guys are pretty. Look how pretty they are. That tan one. Where do y'all live? Where do you live? Burgok. They're just out here in the middle of it. Hello. Yeah, Willow Lane. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes for all of these spots that have been cleared out to actually be developed. You know, with the political climate the way it is right now and the economy in such a place of uncertainty right now, we're all feeling it. It's fascinating that this can even be happening right now for so many reasons. So many things happening right now would be affecting the progress of these, and you can see it. Wow, they have quite a walk. They got to park here and then walk all the way down back to the construction site. This is where, listen, I see a business opportunity. Some Hapevillian needs to get over here with their golf cart and say, hey, I'll take you to the site for $1. Their little backyard survives. Oh, the stories this house must have to tell, all of them back here. These houses fascinate me because they are in the heart, what used to be the heart of the south side of Hapeville, because there was so much more town that way. So much more town. And now it's just this, you know? This. And here these old gems sit, whispering to each other, going, remember? Remember when it was quiet back here? So quiet. Times have changed. Progress stops for no one. And few of us, this is 3653, which looks like over the years it has been added onto and changed. And my guess is the original part of the house was this and looked very much like that, but is unrecognizable now. See, those two windows kind of give it away. I'm thinking those are the two windows there. You could see the steps, how they look. Same. Yep. She used to look like this, and now she looks like this. But few of us question the definition of progress. What does it mean? Who's it better for? Who does it make life better for? Because I can tell you, you know, as an 8-year Hapevillian, all of this is interesting to look at, but it's not helping me in any way whatsoever. And, you know, my husband and I are performers here in town, and we do our shows, and we were very excited at the prospect when we first moved here, you know, hearing the story about how much development's going on and how many townhomes were being built. And of course, we thought, wow, that means hundreds of thousands of people are going to move into Hapeville and come to our shows. We do well. We sell out most of the time, but we're not seeing an influx of new people. It's the folks that have always been here. The downtown businesses, they're, at least from my perspective, my friends own folk art. They're struggling, but they've only been open here a year. They're doing all right. What I'm saying is, with this many homes being built, you would think you'd have to be beating the business away, but unfortunately what seems to be more closer to the truth is this is a bedroom. Hapeville is a bedroom. People come here, they sleep, they go to work in Atlanta or the airport. I'll go this way. And they take their money elsewhere. By and large, we have not been able to keep up with entertainment, services, things to keep people and their money in Hapeville. Again, I am no professional. This is just what I'm seeing and what it feels like. The intention, I would hope, would be to keep people here in the town. But, for example, our theater, the Academy Theater, never sells out. I can't say never. I'm not that in touch to know, but I mean, just look in this little block right here. You don't see folks clamoring to go downtown. And that is just because of the cultural shift we've seen over the past 7,500 years. Folks stay home, they're on Netflix, they don't go out as much. If they do, they go to something they know, which is probably up in Atlanta. There are a lot of folks down here who support the businesses that we do have in downtown, but the fact that there's this much development going on, and yet you see businesses opening and shuttering very quickly on Main Street. It's concerning, but it's a combination. It's not the city's fault. It's a combination of things, and most of it, I would say, is cultural. You know, we just don't use Main Street centers, and we haven't since the late 70s, 80s. We don't use them the way we used to, so you have to, as a city, you've got to be able to revise, re-envision, reinvigorate your downtown area. And Hapeville's trying. They are trying. But I think we're missing the mark considerably, because you look at places like, I don't know, Decatur, and well, there's a little town that I came from outside of Orlando, Florida, called Winter Garden, very similar to Hapeville. They were able to rejuvenate, and the way they did that was they created a downtown that was a destination. So that means no real estate offices on the main street, no secret organizations, no corporate businesses that are taking up Main Street footage, when we could have more interesting restaurants, shops, art galleries, things like that would draw people to downtown. And we don't have a lot that draws people to downtown right now. But hey, the story is we're headed that way. But then, to rain on my own parade, imagine if all of these townhomes did fill up. Thousands of people. North Central Avenue, South Central Avenue was not made for that kind of traffic, for that level of traffic. We're already seeing it. It's well, you guys know. You lived here. Every intersection where the trains come by is a challenge, and even more so now. And of course, we're on Atlanta Avenue now. There used to be a lot of little homes along here, from what I understand, similar to the one that I just saw over there. Townhomes. This used to be the Baptist Children's Home over here. The front part of it still remains Jess Lucas Park up there behind the depot. So anyway, that's my whole philosophy. I'm probably repeating myself from former videos. Okay, you don't mess around here. I always think this looks like a movie set, doesn't it? Right across from the park. I think I'm gonna have to go into full cart and take a rest. My right knee and my hip are telling me a thing or two right now. Coming up to College Street and Atlanta Avenue, of course, Hapeville United Methodist Church. I got to go in there a few weeks ago. The basement, where all the Sunday school classes used to be, is now called the Goat Farm. It's started up in Atlanta. It's nothing like what it sounds. I don't even know what GOAT stands for in this. I think because what it is they rent them out as art studios. The basement and also upstairs, these buildings, they're art studios. And the first one was on a goat farm, from what I understand, up in Atlanta. I'm talking out of my head right now, but I haven't researched it. But they came down here, probably attracted to the fact that we call ourselves a home for the arts and all of this available square footage. So recently there was a gallery art walk, of which Douglas and I participated in. We enjoyed it so much, and we got to go up in these rooms and see the artists and their work. And it was fascinating. And then, of course, I got to go into the chapel there, the main, not chapel, but I forget, just the big room. The word is escaping me, and it was incredible. Every time I go in there, it's neat to see. Because isn't chapel like the smaller room, and then the bigger one, it's called something else. I know you're screaming at the video right now saying, Dewey, it's called this. I'll remember it as soon as we're done. Here's the back of the post office. A little side note, many years ago, when Hapeville first started, 1891, around that area, and before that, the businesses didn't start on the south side on North Central. they started here on the other side of this building, basically, along what is now South Fulton. But the first, right around where the post office is, right here, the first businesses, Pope's drugstore, other businesses, they were all along here. And then eventually they moved across the tracks to the other side. But Hapeville downtown area started here, right across from the depot. That makes sense, doesn't it? And I may have mentioned it before, but when the depot was built, it was this big, or about that big. And then when Ford opened their plant in 1946, Ford paid to expand it, and they used all of this for their own freight, and they had an office right there. This was all because of Ford, but Hapeville's original train station was that big. Okay, I think I'm gonna head this way. And you can see this part of the post office was added. These extra 3 windows, that whole wing was added to the original, I think like a decade after it opened in 1939? 41. Here's the Worry Rock. I've done research on that. I think I've done a video on it. But this is all that's left of the original, what was called Depot Park. And at the end of the depot here, all of this green space used to go across. There was no street here. It went across, included the post office. And so this was a whole big green park. It was our first original park, and it had a band shell in it. And Hapeville had its own band. But then the government got this piece of land. They cut through, cut it shorter, and you know, it was grass and trees for a long time here. Big water oaks, I think. But now we just have a plaza and with a fountain. And it's a beautiful little plaza. You don't see folks sitting in it much because, again, our culture, sit home and be on your phones for the most part. This is not true in the middle of the night. All right. Get a good view of downtown from here that we walked on about an hour ago. All right, well, I'm gonna go into Folkart and relax my dogs. That is an update, at least on some of the development. There's more on the other side. Not really as extensive as everything else I've seen. On the north side, pretty much where we started, that apartment complex, those townhomes, that's the biggest thing happening up there right now. There are a couple smaller homes being built along former Stewart Avenue between North and when you get out of the city limits. Maybe I'll show them at some other point. But that's where we're at the end of 2025. It'll be interesting to see what happens in 2026. Are people going to move here? Are they going to really fill up all of those townhomes? What will traffic be like? I mean, you can see parking is full, which is good for these businesses. Parking is full. I say these businesses, but there's really, we've got Thai Heaven, Buttersweet Bakery, so they're great for local stuff. Bliss Nail Spa, that's great for local folks. Folkart is great. This spot just keeps opening and closing as something different. Like I said, it was an event space recently, but that did not go well. And then this is gonna be a swimming place. So it's gonna be hopping here next year. It really is. And that's it. Create yourselves a great day.